Friday, the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission: to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Oh, Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club. El Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club.
Test your might.
Oh, is that what he says? Or he said,
Which they
"Cast
said
your
in the
might."
movie at one point when they first showed the fighting ring or whatever they called it. And he goes, "You must test your might." And I was like, "Oh, he said it."
The theme from the video game, the movie, whatever it is you want to call it. It's Mortal Kombat this week in Kent's Movie Club. Hello, Kent.
Hey, Kent.
Hello.
He's there.
I think the music drowned him out.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we got to
It'll-
turn the music.
Hello.
There
There it is. Yeah, we had to get our Mortal Kombat game right. I'm going to admit,
Incredible theme song.
I
First of all.
had very, very low expectations for this one this week, but it was entertaining. The 18-year-old in me certainly would have loved this.
Yeah, I don't know. How do we even explain this movie?
I was thinking about that either this morning or
Here's how you
last
explain
night.
the movie: fight scene,
When you were going to throw it to me and say,
scene.
"So, Stibbs, you picked it. Explain it." And I think I'm just going to say it's a movie based off a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Kent, I never saw the ones in the 90s. I assume that you had to review them. Like, this is better than those movies, right? That's the vibe that I'm getting from everybody. It was better than those ones.
Yeah, those were not good. The second one was particularly stinking hot garbage. This one, I kind of go with my boy Slim Dunlap, who was in the Replacements at the end. Has a song that the chorus is, "It ain't half bad, but it ain't exactly good."
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, Stibbs,
I mean, the story
Let's hear the plot. I was
Story-
ready.
story's not great, but that's not why we tuned in. It starts with what you will eventually. Do I want to give the spoiler?
Sure, Stips.
It starts with It starts with Scorpion in his home village with his family. Sub-Zero shows up and kills his family and him to end his bloodline. Therefore, the outer realm having a better chance of beating the Earth realm.
Rats.
The outer versus Earth realms compete every handful of years in a tournament to see who will
rule the world.
Who will rule the world.
As one does.
And so the outer realm are the bad guys, of course, and they doing it in a cheap way. And instead of waiting for the tournament to do all the fighting, they go out into the real world and try to kill all their opponents so that they can just do it themselves.
This would be the equivalent of Johnny Lawrence taking out Danielson before
Correct.
the All Valley Karate Tournament.
Correct.
Nice reference.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I've been watching
reference.
Cobra Kai.
Little does Sub-Zero know that there was a baby hidden in the floor. And so
You idiot, Sub-Zero.
So Scorpion's bloodline lives on. And centuries later, some guy named, well, I don't even remember his name, Chase or something, some normal name, who's the great grandson or whatever, ends up being recruited by the Earth Realm, the then Earth Realm. What do they call themselves? Not fighters, but they had names for themselves. I don't
Mortal
remember.
Kombat
Champions.
Champions, yes.
Champions League.
There's some training going on. No montage really, which was disappointing. I figured a
Well,
movie.
that training section went on forever.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
There
that was a
pretty big
montage. Even Rocky had a montage.
I guess because there wasn't a corny 80s like reverb music that I didn't consider it a montage. And then all hell breaks loose. I mean, that's all you really have to know. Tons of fighting, tons of gore, incredible fight scenes.
The violence in this
incredible fight
is
scenes.
tremendous.
Off the chain.
So I said it. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, like, the brainstorming on different ways to like
Yes.
disembowel and
Yes.
murder people that went on for this movie had to have been so much fun. And it's true to like what the video game was.
Exactly. Blood
Because
everywhere.
if you ever played this video game and you have the opportunity to finish someone, and
Rip off
you
their
have a
heads.
fatality, there's always the most ridiculous, pulling people's spines out of their backs and pulling their hearts out, and all the little Easter eggs from if you ever played the video game, you will enjoy it immensely. There's all these different Easter eggs. They pull the heart out of the lizard guy, and so like there's different fatalities that you'll notice that kind of made me chuckle. They'll mention, like I had mentioned, they say at one point, "Test your might," and they say one of them says fatality. Like there's all just these little Easter eggs that they drop in from the video game that made it. I just chuckled a lot. I enjoyed it immensely. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
One of the two notes that I wrote down about this movie, because I'm doing my prep here, Kent.
Dialogue was top
Okay,
notch.
I have a quote.
Oh yeah.
Give me the quote later. And I don't know why I even wrote this down. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget it. The hat guy sawing the woman in half
I think that was
was.
Katana.
I was cackling. I was laughing so hard at that because it just kept going. I thought it's like, okay, now her head's in half. No, let's just keep
half her body.
sawing.
Did you bother to watch the credits?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
so in the
no.
credits,
Oh, was there like drawings and
Yes.
stuff? Oh,
in the
man.
credits, because that's when the Mortal Kombat music hits.
Yep.
In the credits, the Mortal Kombat dragon logo kept morphing into different scenes from the movie, and one of the scenes it morphed into was the lady being sawed in half by the hat.
The setup for that moment too was fantastic because like you had just met that, I think it was Katana, because the main bad guy, whatever, they all have dumb names. It's horrible. The main bad guy was
Ice
like
Storm.
talking her up like, this is my beauty, this is my prized possession, this is my true champion, this is this and this, and so called her in to take on Saw Hat Man, and I used to have all the names memorized.
I think his name was Bob Vila.
And so like there was this huge like kind of, they were like building and building because she was flying around him and trying to find the right angle, and they're like building up this huge scene, and all it is she comes flying at him. He jumps up, jumps on top of her, and just slices her in half within like 8 seconds, and it's over. And the look on the main bad guy's face is incredible. He's absolutely astonished and beside himself. And then he just puts his little hat on, just covered in blood. It was phenomenal stuff. That, and when at the end, when Sub-Zero grabs some
Kung
of
Lao, Stibbs.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, from Human Prisoner. Thank you, Human Prisoner on Twitter.
When
What the hell?
Sub-Zero grabs some of Scorpion's own blood, freezes it in midair, and then stabs him with it. That was some incredible stuff as well.
The one I liked was when what was her name? The woman, the blonde, shot the woman through, and you could see
Sonya
her
Blade.
spine.
Your spine.
Yes.
That was great. Jack's just exploding that man's head was pretty cool. The head just disappearing out of nowhere with his big metal arms.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some really, really great, disturbing fatalities in this movie.
Also,
it was hilarious.
It just like, look, in all seriousness, it just moved along. It was like an hour. It was an hour and 40. So it's 10 minutes of credits. It was great. It was just like boom, 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 boom. You know, I looked at my watch a few times just to see like, okay, how much is left? But I wasn't bored.
Mhm.
You know, it was a dumb
No.
but I wasn't bored, which was good.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough here to keep you interested, and of course, the language is pretty rough. I mean, it earns every little bit of its R rating.
Hell yeah, it
mostly
does.
from the gore, but
Yeah.
even the very first fight scene when Ice Zero or Ice Storm,
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero. See, I'm sorry, Sub-Zero is the bad guy from the Running Man.
I knew you'd say
Zero.
He's the Running Man.
I thought of Running Man a million times last
I knew
night,
you'd
John,
say
for you.
that.
But even that scene, you know, which was the very first fight scene in the film, as soon as I saw all the blood, I'm like, there's more blood coming out of these people than there actually in these people. It's just incredible. And little did I know that was going to be the tamest fight scene in the entire movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Scorpion's like knife thing, which again is true to the video game. His like chain knife thing. Anytime that thing was used was awesome. All the things they came up with, wrapping it around people, throwing it, coming around, like that stuff was pretty awesome.
The dude got his arms ripped off. Damn. Look for that.
They pushed this to the very edge of they were about this far from getting an NC-17, and that was intentional, obviously.
Yeah.
And that sets it way apart from the last two, at least. I don't remember if the first one was R or not, but the last two were PG-13, which made it even dumber because you're watching, the movie's based on this game that's about dispatching people with, extreme cruelty, and they didn't show any of it. So that makes those movies even worse.
Yeah. And listen, and I never played the video game, but I'm familiar enough with it to know that
it's great
for people who enjoy the video game because of that. They honored that in the movie. I mean, it is cartoonish violence and gore and everything, and I can imagine for people who were fans of the video game, this will be a cool little flashback to playing the video game because it is all over the map, baby, and the blood is. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't do it in 3D and just have the stuff spraying all over the map.
And it's clear they're banking on a sequel.
Oh yeah. So you got the Johnny Cage Easter egg at the end as well.
Right at the very end.
So, I read too that they wanted to do more with that they had a scene planned, but because of COVID, they couldn't do it. They were going to actually go visit him, like at the in Hollywood, like at some back lot, because he's some just stupid actor. He would be like the Tom Cruise character, John. You'd hate him.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to like go visit him and do like a much bigger ordeal about it. And the poster was still going to be in the movie, but it was going to be in the background of something just to let someone kind of see somewhere. But I thought that was kind of neat, so I can't wait for the second one.
The thing I thought was kind of interesting, I was looking at some of the data on the movie.
Did well.
The budget was 55 million is nothing to sneeze at, but that's all it was. Yeah, but it says on Wiki that the budget was 55 million.
And you want to know why it's that low?
Well,
those actors didn't get paid diddly doodly because they're not big name actors,
right?
So I would guess that. I think I've mentioned this before. The way the movie financing is looked at, there's something called above the line and below the line. Above the line is basically actors' salaries. Below the line is the actual cost of production. And I would guess the below the line on this was probably 40 million of that. And the entirety of all those actors may have made 10 million for the whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I think there was only one actor that I recognized, and that was the ultimate bad guy, whatever his name was. He was in
the Dark Knight.
From the Dark Knight, yeah.
And in that, he was in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Scorpion is a really recognizable character actor. He's been in a ton of movies. Doesn't have huge parts, but he's been in a ton of movies. He was the one I recognized, as other one I recognized. But everybody else, was probably working for them good pay, but not $10 million or whatever that would send a budget of a movie to the moon.
Now, this movie is in theaters, but can't any particular reason why they wanted it to come out now and not maybe wait until later in the summer to try to gain more box office when the theaters are more open?
Absolutely. If you look, Warner Brothers has a whole stack of films that are going to come out this year, and when they decided to go, I mean, part of what they're doing with this is trying to get people to go to HBO Max,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the trade-off is it may not have as big a box office, but it may pull people to the HBO Max. So, but they just have so many movies, because remember, there's 2 years worth of movies, or a year and a half worth of movies sitting in a pipeline. you know?
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to see, and what the fear is, and I think it's a legitimate fear, is that in September, October, when things really do go to like 100% capacity, probably everywhere, and people are a little more accustomed to going back out, you might see the train wreck where you get 5-6 movies open on a weekend, and that's a disaster for all involved.
Man.
There's not a lot to say about the movie. I mean,
Oh, what was the quote, Sibs, you had written down? I had one, the one
Well,
that I
I wanna
thought
know
was really
yours.
funny was the what was the guy from Australia? The dude that
Kato,
was like the
Kato.
the
Yeah.
comic relief when he realized he had a power and he goes, laser beams better than fireballs, yeah. And he said a word that I'm not allowed to say on the radio. But he said that to a character. Just his delivery on that, because they're like trying to troll him to figure out what his power is, and then he figures it out. And so I thought that part was pretty funny. That was the line I wrote down.
He was annoying at first, and it was very obvious he was the comic relief.
Yeah.
And I eventually kind of warmed up to him a little bit for who he was.
He
like,
was a
what
lot
he was
early
doing.
on, though.
Yeah,
he was a lot.
He got fairly funny.
Yeah. That line was funny.
The other ridiculous piece of dialogue that made me laugh while it was going on was when the the logo turned into fire and ate the guy. He was talking all the way through it.
Yeah.
that we can't say here. That was pretty fun.
That dude was funny also. I liked the end when Scorpion first came back to fight Sub-Zero, and he said, I didn't write it down, but it's essentially, I have risen from hell to defeat you. Or it was just
That's
the corniest,
exactly what he said.
it was the corniest thing in the world. And I was like, it was almost cool, but it just wasn't at all. But the fighting made up for it. It was pretty great. You can watch Mortal Kombat on HBO Max. Or
Yeah,
go
it's
see
still available for
so
a couple more weeks.
I would recommend it if you just want to turn your brain off and
man,
laugh.
if you have a kid that's like that, you're okay with violence in movies with them, and they're like in their mid-teens, and you just want something dumb to throw on with your son or daughter.
Yeah.
Do this. Like, they would be like, thank you, mom and dad, for letting me watch this dumb hunk of junk. They will love you for it.
I'd say 16 at the youngest if you really don't care.
I was going to say, and don't show this to your 8-year-old.
No,
maybe not them.
No,
Maybe
not
not
that.
them.
I was just looking here at the movies that are premiering, the new movies that are premiering on HBO Max, the ones that are still available or that are still to come.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to gauge, which ones will be probably highly anticipated. The next one is looks like Angelina Jolie is in a neo-western called Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Okay.
That's the next one to come out later in May. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, I saw that commercial, the trailer last night before I started the movie. I was like, what is
that a sequel to
this?
the other Conjuring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's June 4th. These are all the movies again premiering on HBO Max. And then we get to Space Jam with LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron Jam is
LeBron Jam.
July 16th. Suicide Squad is August 6th.
This one doesn't look horrible.
Really?
And the one I'm looking
It's done by a
forward
different
to
guy, yeah.
is September 24th, which is The Many Saints of Newark, which is the Sopranos prequel.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's a movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be held in the 60s, so it's going to be a
young Tony.
Young Tony. It's going to be,
Oh, that'll be fun.
Uncle June, Christopher Moltisanti's dad, Dickie
Okay.
Moltisanti, who was Tony's
Uncle.
protege, if you will. So that's the one I'm looking forward to on September 24th.
Nice.
By the way, Gandolfini's son is playing young Tony.
Really?
Oh,
I
I
did
think I
read-
remember reading
yeah.
that.
The and that's why you don't they don't where are you going to put Mortal Kombat in that rundown? If you pushed it back, the reason you don't see anything from like August 15th to September or whatever is that's a dead zone for movies.
Yes.
Because of going back to school and into summer and vacations and all of that. Like August 10th to September 10th is like, one of the dumping grounds. So I would suspect they avoided that, even though it's still online as well as in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Mortal Kombat streaming
welcome.
now for a couple more weeks.
You're welcome.
On HBO Max or in the theater.
I'd have won my bet of the day if my bet would have been John will like it plus 500. I'm
That's
really
true.
mad.
Yeah, you'd be up. You'd
I
be
knew it.
down like
I knew it.
$1,300.
It's above. It's definitely above Stibbs's.
For what it
bar.
is
Yes.
pretty good.
Yes.
All right,
Exactly for what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. I got 3 movies written down. So one is like total Oscar bait that I don't know if I want to pick right now since it's like May. That sounds not fun. The other is the movie that was almost 3 hours long. And I'll just say that one. That was going to be Blade Runner 2049 because I never got around to watching that.
I never saw that either. Probably because it was almost 3 hours long.
Because it's almost 3 hours long. The one that I'm going to choose, and it's in the same vein of the movie that we just watched, and it's a movie we talked about on or off the air, I know, pretty recently. It's on HBO Max. I have not watched this movie on my new big screen television with the soundbar turned up super loud. Mad Max Fury Road. I have not watched it in a while. I know John has never seen it. I love this movie. I want to rewatch it. Mad Max Fury Road. It is available right now on HBO Max.
I was in my top 10 for, what was that, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I
4
love
years ago?
It
3
is
years
so
ago?
good. And this, go into this and just get ready because it's like all real special effects. Very little of it is computer generated, which is pretty cool.
Almost none on deliberately because the director said, watch this. I'm making a real movie and not a computer movie.
We're going to go out to the desert and blow a bunch of bleep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back in the action genre then for next week. Mad Max Glory Road, which is on streaming
Fury
now.
Road.
Fury Road.
Fury Road.
Glory Road is a basketball movie.
Yes, Glory Road. That's cool.
Yes, it is.
A little different.
You
That
tell.
sounds like a cool, like
That actually would be a cool mashup.
like an SNL
Oh my
like
God.
mashup,
Yes.
digital mashup.
Mad Max Glory Road.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
That's really funny.
electric guitar guys like in the band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we have to look forward to next week. Kent, thanks for joining us as always in the movie club, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next week, gentlemen.
There
Later,
he
Kent.
goes, Kent Wolgamott of the Lincoln Journal-Star. See, they are trying to blow it.
Oh, they are.
Oh no.
There's 2 outs. You're fine. He's very mad at himself.
Well, he should be. Freaking giving up hits to the stinking Pirates for crying out loud. Come on, Tempura.
Who's this fella?
I'm not good at
He's a
identifying.
little chonky.
I'm not good at
Another
identifying
chonk
my
boy?
Cubs,
He's a little bit of a chonk.
my Cubs pitchers, my relief pitchers, because they change all the time.
Oh, there's a lot of comments on the YouTube page that I just noticed for the first time. I'm sorry, Taylor. We weren't trying to ignore you.
Oh, I put one up on the screen.
Okay, because I see Taylor says Tenet just came out on HBO Max. You guys should review that one. I thought about it, but I didn't want John to like completely hate me.
I put this one on the screen because I thought it was funny.
Nice. Nice.
What one on the screen?
My grandma got him Mortal Kombat 3 for Christmas for Sega when he was like 6 or 7.
Ooh.
That the guy at the store recommended the game was pretty good, so she got it.
For a 6 or 7-year-old. It was pretty good for a 6 or 7-year-old. All right. We're closing in on One Beer Friday. And today, it's a taste test Wednesday on a One Beer Friday.
Oh, that's confusing.
As we brought in the Cheez-It Snaps or Snapped.
Snap apostrophe D. It's like Michael.
So Cheez-It's Michael versus the Ritz brand,
Snapped severe.
which has a much less cool name.
It does.
It's actually just Ritz Michael spelled how Michael's usually spelled. So, there it is. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.